Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on the idea, or what we're seeing right now in the Walking Dead television series, which is, yet again, the survivors, Rick's group, splitting up. Alright, and as always, of course, reviews or these types of discussion topics do contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3 yet, you may or may not want to watch this. That said, so quite a few people asked me to go ahead and do this one. I didn't mention it in my review because it's one that, I can talk about for quite a while and, just kind of give all my thoughts on. So that's what we're going to do in this video, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this one and how you feel about the group splitting up again so soon after what we had almost a half season of the whole concept of the group being split. Now, with this one, I'm kind of impartial to it. I mean, I understand why they're going the route they're going, and one thing I want to say is that the group has become so big that I think it makes sense to kind of split it into splinters or splinter it around, because you can only tell so much story with one location. When we have the hunters there and it's the survivors versus the hunters, it makes sense to have them all together. But afterwards, in terms of telling a story, if they're just kind of sitting around waiting for Daryl and the others to get back, or Daryl and the others just get back, what are they going to do next? I mean, it's kind of cool to have different pieces in different spots when you're telling the story, so that you can have episodes where you'll have different locations coming in and out. You'll have, for example, let's look at all the different groups right now in The Walking Dead. We have a Solo, of course, Morgan out there somewhere, probably following Rick's group to the church, a couple months behind, but because the termites or the hunters marked their steps as they went along, I'm sure that Morgan has picked up the trail and probably will get to the church eventually. But you've got him, of course. Right now we have Beth, who soon probably will be Beth, Noah, and maybe Daryl is what I'm predicting, what I'm thinking. Probably reuniting with the original group. Possibly Carol in there somewhere, who knows where, or dead, who knows, right? Or injured or something. And then, in addition to that, we have, of course, Glenn, Maggie, and all the others, Abraham, Eugene, Rosita, and Tara, all together in the bus that they left in, headed towards Washington, D.C., which, I mean, is going to be a heavily populated type of area, and it's just going to be a nightmare for them to try to get there through cities and, traverse large distances at this point in time, with small groups being around, probably not being very nice in terms of survivors at this time, any survivors that they meet. I mean, Gabriel, there'll be good ones out there like Gabriel, but there's probably not going to be that many. I would say at this point in time in the zombie apocalypse, there'll be more dangerous groups that you would expect to encounter a couple years in than you would at the very beginning, I would have to say. So it is interesting to have all these different splinter groups. If you want to count them all, you've got Morgan, you've got Abraham's group, Rick's group, and then you have Daryl's group, which probably will reunite with the others very soon. We'll have to see what happens with that. But if Carol's by herself, or you have 5 different groups, even though a couple of them are solo, and I don't know if you really want to count them, but you have 5 different stories going on at once in parallel, right? I really like that type of storytelling. That's something that Game of Thrones has done really well. Been on TV for over 4 seasons now, going into season 5. One of the other biggest shows on television. Love the series as well too. And the show has always been, since the very beginning, you have all these different locations, and we concentrate on different spots all the time. And it flips between, you'll get a little bit with this group, a little bit with that group, a little bit with this person, a little bit with that. And some episodes you might not see one in particular. Other episodes you might get all focused on just one because something big's happening. And I really like that form of storytelling. It gives us more of a world view type of situation rather than just a narrow vision, narrow field. So I do like the idea of Abraham's group in particular splitting off from the main group. But the thing about it that I find a little strange is because they didn't want to split up because they had already split up. They just met again at Terminus at the end of last season, and it brings in the whole concept of we're not going to split up again. We're going to stay together. No way are we going to split up again. But I guess if you think of it, sooner or later they would have to. Abraham's group is going to go off on their own. Abraham is dangerous. If they make Abraham a promise, they say we'll go with you, and then after they kill the hunters, they didn't. It could be a big problem. I mean, Rick's group outnumbers them. They have more, arms and everything like that. But do they really want to turn, Abraham into an enemy? This type of thing. He's done right with them so far. He's helped them out. He's done what he needed to do in order to win their trust. And right now, Rick's group really is kind of lost. They really don't have anywhere to go. Aside from them waiting for Daryl and the others to get back, as soon as they get back, I would think that unless they have some kind of new story to follow, like with Carol being lost or something, or Daryl not being able to rescue Beth, and maybe them having to go after her or something. Aside from that, I would think that they would pretty much try to head in the right direction where Abraham and the others are headed, and maybe will end up on the same path. But I do think at some point in time in the series, we're going to have to see more long-term separations where the characters don't just find each other again at the end of the season. They're separated for a long time, and then maybe eventually find each other again as part of some big communities, mixing and intertwining. So that's what I think we're going to see eventually. But for the time being, for right now, it is a cool idea because it gives us some new cityscapes. It also, from a viewer perspective, makes the group a little bit more vulnerable because they don't have as many numbers, right, to fight with if another group attacks them or something. So it's exciting, nevertheless. It's exciting, but I do think it's a little strange that they would split up already. In terms of the groups, which group I'm most interested in seeing, it's definitely going to be Rick's group. They have all my favorite characters, or most of my favorite characters in it. Not that Abraham's great, Eugene's funny, Rosita's cool. Fun to look at anyway. And you have, of course, Glenn and Maggie. Again, Abraham's got all the hotties. Glenn's got all the hotties with him. Well, not all of them, but anyway. You've got Tara in there, who, with her hair back, looks like a guy right now, but that's okay. I mean, hopefully they'll fix that sooner or later. We'll see. It's intentional anyway. But, there's her, Glenn's cool as always. But, that group's a little bit of fun. But for me, my favorite characters are all in Rick's immediate group right now. When Daryl gets back, and Carol, if she's still alive, I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. But nevertheless, it should be some really interesting stuff, and I can't believe we're all the way through the Hunter storyline already, and we're only 3 episodes in. It's pretty nuts when you think about that pacing. I hope they can keep it up all the way through. I hope Abraham loses the bus or something, and then they lose their ride. They end up in a whole hell of a lot of trouble, which I'd assume is probably what we're going to see pretty soon. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen for the mid-season finale, man. Incredible stuff so far. I can't even begin to predict what we're going to see this season. But in terms of the separation, all in all, I do like it because I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Abraham's group on the road when Rick's group, for the time being, is house sitting at the church sitting until they go and find out what's going on with Daryl, Beth, and that whole situation there, which I'm sure will end in an exciting fashion as well, too. Maybe that group that Daryl rescues Beth from, or whatever happens with that, maybe they go after them or something. I guess we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, should be fun. Maybe another kind of hunters, but not really hunters. Those that are capturing them to experiment on them rather than eat them. But similar kind of concept, and one that really has been introduced in Season 4 as well, which could be a cool segue into a story for those groups, I think, too. So let me know what you guys think about the groups splitting up so quickly yet again. I mean, I'm happy with it in terms of a viewer, in terms of a story, and it does make sense because Abraham's a man on a mission. So we'll do a video coming up. Somebody requested, sorry I didn't write down your name. I'll mention it in the video when I do it. Who would win between Abraham and Rick, because that almost happened in episode 3. Kind of giving my thoughts on who's tougher, who would win, that kind of thing, before episode 4. So that'll be coming up in the next couple days. Also got the Q&A, and of course, Gareth's comparison to some of the other bad guys we've had in the series and some of the other groups. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all that right in the comments below. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to help support me, please thumb up the video. If you're new here and you want to subscribe, Don't you be no fool. You click the subscribe. That's what you got to do. You have to do it. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. See you for the next one. As always, it's Trev saying peace.